Dark Northwest is a horror-themed audio drama that includes mature content. For a complete list of content warnings, please see the episode description. This podcast is a work of fiction inspired by reported paranormal events. While we may reference real locations and historical figures, all characters, dialogue, and storylines are fictionalized for entertainment purposes. These portrayals should not be interpreted as factual accounts. Any other resemblances to actual persons, living or dead, or to real places or events is purely coincidental. The creators make no claims regarding the accuracy of the events portrayed. Listener discretion is advised. You are listening to Tales of the Dark Northwest, created by Ron Leota and Kirsten Fay, starring Arden, Zephyr Moon, Cassandra Schwartz, and Ron Leota. Narrated by Alex Gardapi. Music by Aaron Edens. Gary's whole body shook as he stared at the interrogation room table, rattling the handcuffs that were around his wrists. He counted the small imperfections in the wood in an idle attempt to distract himself.
No! No!
What is your name? Hey! Are you listening to me? I said, what is your name?
Sorry, it's, Gary Bond?
All right, Mr. Bond. I'm Detective Harmond with the Seattle Police Department. What the hell were you doing down in those tunnels?
Exploring. It's a hobby I've been into for a while.
So you have a history of criminal behavior?
What? No.
You just admitted to breaking and entering, as well as trespassing.
You make it sound like I'm breaking into people's houses. I visit sites no one gives a shit about. I want to see places that people left behind. I guess it makes me feel like I'm actually accomplishing something in my life by remembering what everyone else chooses to forget. It's not like I'm hurting anybody.
Not hurting anybody? Then how do you explain the blood and clothing fragments that were discovered near where they found you?
I took my friend with me. I normally do this alone, but she was important to me. I wanted to show her the world outside of the daily grind, the things no one else gets to see. Now she's dead, and it's my fault.
Your friend. What was her name?
Shannon Miller.
And what did you do with the body?
What? I didn't do anything with the body.
Why did you kill her?
I didn't fucking kill her!
Settle down, Mr. Bond. This'll go a lot better for you if you just tell me the truth. You know how this looks, right?
I don't understand.
Well, to me it looks like you lured Shannon down into those tunnels, killed her, and disposed of the body.
No, that's not how it happened. I was the one who called you for help.
Okay, how about you tell me what happened then? Start from the beginning.
Gary had met Shannon at a pirate-themed asexual community pub crawl in Seattle's Pioneer Square district a year ago called 1,000 Paces for Aces. They had both attended looking for friends, striking up a conversation that soon turned to Gary's favorite pastime, urban exploration. Shannon, a bored office worker who had spent most of her younger years building a career, loved hearing Gary's somewhat embellished stories of adventuring into places the city had long forgotten. Gary, a gig worker who desperately wanted the approval of his more successful friend, was happy to have an eager audience. They began meeting regularly for drinks, and the friendship that blossomed between the two loners was a much-needed breath of fresh air. Gary never quite fit into the greater urban exploration community due to his riskier approach to the hobby and his disdain for tagging. He often invited Shannon along, but the illegal elements always scared her off.
So, what exciting stories do you have for me this evening, Gary?
Not much, unfortunately. Things have been kind of quiet lately. Been doing some gig work to make ends meet. You wouldn't believe how many people won't walk a block in the city to get their own food. That said, I do have a lead on something cool. Something new.
Well, don't leave me in suspense, you big goof. What is it?
Remember when we went on the Seattle Underground tour and I told you about some of the off-limit places that I've seen? Well, I think I found another entrance. Doesn't look like anyone's touched it in a long time. The lock's all rusted. Wanna come?
You know what? Yes, I'll go with you.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'll do it. Am I a little scared? Sure, but I'm tired of chickening out every time. I'm in.
Gary thought for a moment. He'd expected another rejection. He was experienced and knew the dangers, but enjoyed the thrill. He'd never taken anyone with him, let alone someone new, but deep down, he was lonely and couldn't pass up the chance to get his only friend into the hobby with him.
Okay, if you're gonna go with me, you have to be extra careful. Stick close and follow my lead.
You got it, boss.
No time like the present.
The pair finished up at the bar and Shannon settled their tab. After heading out into the night, Gary took Shannon on a tour of the back streets of Pioneer Square, pointing out some of the abandoned places and known entrances to the underground that he'd explored. They arrived at an unlit alleyway.
Okay, the entrance should be somewhere around here.
Wait, you don't know where it is?
I know it's around here. I just have to find it again. Give me a minute.
Gary had seen it a week ago while cutting through the alley on a DoorDash delivery. Since it was lunch hour, he only stopped to take a peek through the grating and saw a rather promising open area below. As he searched, Shannon wandered the alleyway looking at the dumpsters and piled up boxes.
Hey, this is my spot.
Sorry to disturb you.
Can't a guy get some damn sleep in this city? What are you doing in my alley?
Nothing. We're just looking around.
Living on the streets as long as I have gives you a good radar for bullshit, and mine is going off something fierce. What are you really doing back here?
Okay, we're looking for an entrance to the underground.
Stick to the tour, kid. It ain't safe to go wandering down there. You should go home.
Maybe we should just head back to the bar.
Hey, this isn't my first rodeo. I know what I'm doing.
Listen to your friend, kid. I'm serious. You shouldn't be messing around with the underground. Weird shit happens down there.
Like what?
It's a dark and forgotten place for a reason. People who mess around with that place tend to go missing. Most folk in my position would rather sleep in the rain than risk the underground. You hear a lot of things on the streets. Hell, even folks who don't follow the rules of the tour guides ain't safe.
What do you mean?
Way I heard it, some fella deep in the sauce decided to take a little detour from his group to have a piss. His friends heard a yelp and then they tried looking for him. Never did find the body.
That's freaky.
I know you have no reason to trust me and appreciate the concern, but we'll be all right. I've been through a lot of the underground and haven't seen anything.
Then count yourself lucky. I'm telling you, stay out of the underground. I'm not about to let you open a grate near my place. Don't want 2 dead kids under the floor of my bed.
What's your name?
Ray.
Okay, Ray. I don't want to be disrespectful of your space, but this entry looks like it hasn't been touched for years. I've done a lot of exploring, and it'd mean a lot to me if you'd look the other way.
You're doing this no matter what I say, huh?
I'll make a deal with you. I can give you $20 now, and I'll come back tomorrow with a new lock.
Gary rifled through his pockets, and his stomach dropped when he realized he only had a 5 on him.
Hey, Shannon, can you spot me?
Yeah.
Ugh, fine. But I'm not sticking around here if you're opening that grate. Just, be careful and take care of each other.
Of course.
I won't let anything happen to her.
Ray gathered some things into a grocery bag and reluctantly left the alley.
maybe we should just listen to him. He seemed genuinely worried for us.
He's seen and heard a lot, I'm sure, but this is a huge opportunity. I can go alone if you're not up for it. No judgment if you want to bail.
No, I have to do this. So, did you mean what you said about coming back tomorrow?
Yeah, you run into a lot of people who live on the streets when you do this kind of thing. This is their turf. A little kindness goes a long way.
Gary found the service grate with an old rusted lock holding it shut. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a flashlight, which he handed to Shannon, and then took out a crowbar. He got to work on the lock while Shannon acted as lookout.
Got it.
Gary looked down into the darkness of the open service hatch. The air was damp and stale as he descended down the rickety ladder into the depths of the Seattle underground. Shannon followed, making it to the ground safely.
Holy crap! This is awesome!
You seemed pretty nervous before.
I was, but I decided it was time to live a little. Woo!
Okay, calm down, Laura Croft.
I can't believe this old ladder actually held our weight.
Shannon gripped one of the rungs and gave it a slight shake, which was all that was needed for it to finally come loose from the crumbling mounting.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry.
Not your fault. It would have broken on the climb back up, which would have been way worse.
Okay, so we look around for another way out while we explore?
Exactly.
Gary took the flashlight to survey their surroundings. The old dilapidated area was large and stretched back further than their light source could illuminate. He was nervous about finding another way out, but didn't want to worry Shannon, who was still riding the high of her first exploration.
Whoa, those look like old storefronts.
Yeah, they're pretty rough from the fire and the years of water damage after. Hard to believe that this used to be a bustling section of the city.
It's wonderful, even if it smells like a wet sock. What was that?
I don't know. Probably a rat.
Gary knew the sound was too loud to be caused by a rat, but despite his growing fear, he maintained the facade of the expert in their current situation. The pair moved to the right side of the area and began checking some of the old buildings. Most were collapsed and too dangerous to enter, but they eventually found one that looked sturdy enough to explore.
Okay, stick close and try to step where I step.
Got it.
The two entered the burned building, stepping over blackened debris. Gary, leading the way, moved around what appeared to be several scorched shelving units towards another passageway in the back. The ceiling had partially sunken in the next room.
Wait here for me. You should be safe if you stay close. I'm gonna see if this leads anywhere. Sometimes these partially fallen in areas can lead to sections of basements and older buildings. They don't bother fully walling them off if there's only a small gap.
Gary got on his stomach and crawled inside. Shannon pulled out her cell phone and turned on the flashlight app to give herself some light while she waited. Inside the gap, Gary slowly inched forward. He felt his body compress between the collapsed ceiling and the damp ground as the space became tighter. Each push forward pressed harder against his rib cage, squeezing his lungs, threatening to trap him mid-breath. He considered turning back, but he could see an opening just a few feet ahead, close enough to make it through. Gary groaned as he outstretched his arms to grip the other side of a beam that stood in the center of the path. He took a deep breath and pulled, sliding face first into a puddle of standing water. He closed his eyes. The cold shocked him. The ceiling pressed into his back as his torso wedged into the compact space, stopping his forward momentum. His mind raced. If he panicked, this place would become his coffin. Relying on his many years of experience as an urban explorer to keep himself calm, he forced himself to exhale. The air left him in a rush, bubbling into the water beneath his face. With his lungs empty, his chest shrank just enough. He twisted, pushed, and finally felt himself slip free into the open space beyond. Gary pulled himself out of the gap and shined his flashlight around an old storage room. Busted crates littered the ground. Relief filled him as he shined his light on a broken-out window on the back wall. He pulled the most intact crate toward the window, readying to hoist himself through, which led to the other side of the building and another open area. Back in the store, Shannon shined her light around the old building.
What the hell was that?
You okay?
I think so. I heard something move.
Okay, sit tight. I'll get back as quick as I can. No luck in here. I definitely chose the path of most resistance.
The beam of her phone's light was unsteady in her shaking hands. She saw a flash of movement past the burned-out windows. Startled, Shannon tripped, dropping her phone and toppled into an old box, breaking it, impaling a jagged spike of wood deep into her thigh. The phone landed on its side against the wall, casting only a dim glow into the room.
Shannon!
Gary quickly climbed onto the crate and squeezed through the window, desperate to get back to his friend. Shannon pulled herself off the wreckage, feeling a 4-inch skewer tear at the flesh of her leg. Crimson blood soaked her jeans as she pulled herself free. She gripped the wound with both hands as she looked up and saw the shadowy silhouette of a figure in the doorway. It stood over 6 feet tall and had thin, angular limbs that were unnaturally long. Its eyes glinted as it stared at her. She scrambled towards the opening that Gary had entered just moments ago. She squeezed herself deeper into the claustrophobic space. The thing stalked towards her. She felt a crushing hand grab her ankle, pulling her back. The creature dangled Shannon's body upside down, holding from her good leg. She blinked rapidly as her eyes tried to focus on the twisted figure in front of her. The beast that held her looked like something out of a nightmare. Its emaciated body was nearly translucent, as if it had never seen the light of day. Its head, too large for its wiry frame, was home to a maw of jagged teeth stretched into a grin that mocked her agony.
No!
She struggled, but it tightened its grip, shattering her ankle in the process. Fear and adrenaline kept her conscious through the shock her body was experiencing. The beast pulled her close, and she was now face to face with the horror. It stared at her with black eyes that were covered in a cloudy hue. Through her tears, she could see its lipless smile of uneven fangs that smelled of rotten meat.
Please, no!
The creature lurched its neck forward, sinking its teeth into Shannon's throat, ripping free the first bite of its prey. Shannon lost vision as large portions of blood spurted from her neck and ran down her face, soaking the ground beneath her. As she slipped into the embrace of death, she felt the creature's second bite, a gluttonous chunk ripped from her shoulder. The monster greedily rendered flesh from bone, devouring her piece by piece.
What the fuck? Shannon!
As Gary ran back to the front of the old building, attempting to navigate the ruins as best he could, he pulled his cell phone from his pocket.
911, what is your emergency?
Hello? I'm trapped in the Seattle underground. Something is after me. There's an entrance in an alley off of 5th, I think, near Cherry. The ladder broke. Please, you gotta send help.
Gary dodged over the debris, receiving minor cuts and scrapes in his haste as he spoke to the operator. It took him a few minutes, but he finally made it back to the storefront and went inside. He shined the light around the room, and his jaw dropped in horror. Laying amongst the shattered debris was Shannon's body, half devoured. Her face was still intact, frozen in a state of twisted horror, confirming his worst fear. Out of shock, he dropped his phone and ran to her.
Hello? Sir? Please stay on the line.
Shannon! Oh my god. Oh my god.
Gary looked left and saw the culprit of the macabre scene, crouched in the corner, chewing on Shannon's dismembered arm. As he shined his light at the creature, it averted its eyes in pain. Gary fled from the building, heading deeper into the catacombs that once made up the streets of Seattle. Gary rounded a corner and saw light from the topside street lamp filtering through the glass squares embedded into the sidewalk above him. These skylights cast a bright glow upon the underground passage. The hungry predator that was giving chase stopped at the edge of the light, pacing. Gary shined his flashlight in the creature's face.
You killed Shannon, you monster!
Gary kept the beam shining on the creature whenever it was in range. The only vengeance he could have against the unnatural terror that killed his friend. After several minutes, it got on all fours and skittered away, back into the darkness.
Run, you piece of shit! Oh god. Shannon. I'm so sorry.
Gary collapsed to the ground in the pool of light. All he could do was hope that his earlier call to 911 was enough to find him, as he didn't dare go back out into the shadows.
I just waited there. I guess the operator was able to find my location from the phone after I'd made the call. It was a few hours before they found me and got me out. Thank God they brought so many lights with them and the fire department had a ladder.
You know how that sounds, right?
Crazy, I know. But I'm telling you, that's what happened.
I've heard some tall tales in my day, but this one's a real stretch. Listen, just tell us what you did with the body, and maybe we can work something out. Your sentence will be a lot less harsh if you cooperate.
I am cooperating. That thing killed my friend, and it's still down there.
All right. I can see we're not going to get anywhere tonight. We'll see if you change your tune in the morning.
You can't do this! I'm telling you the truth! Why won't you listen to me?
Detective Harmon stood up and grabbed Gary by the arm to escort him to the holding cells. Gary struggled as another officer entered the room to help subdue him.
Do you want to add resisting to the list of your crimes? Calm down.
I didn't kill her! I'd never do that to her!
With his hands already cuffed, the detective and the officer easily overpowered Gary and dragged him from the interrogation room. By the time they were in the hallway, Gary stopped fighting. They led him down the stairs to the basement of the precinct and pushed him into a cell. He paced back and forth as the adrenaline worked its way through his system. Once he calmed down, he sat on the hard bench in the cell as he felt the exhaustion from the evening's events start to overtake him. He lay on his side and stared at the old brick wall of the basement jail and sobbed till sleep finally took him. He was awoken by a scratching sound coming from the other side of the wall. It was slow and uneven at first, as if something were testing the bricks. Then it came again, longer this time, dragging across the mortar just inches from where his head rested.
Greetings, Darklings. Thank you for listening to episode 4 of Tales of the Dark Northwest. Thank you to all our patrons who helped make this episode possible. We want to give a big shout out to our acolytes of the dark on Patreon, JP, Alicia, Greg, and Carissa. An extra special thank you goes out to our heroes of the dark. Shanzan, whose last communication on the mountain was this Patreon sub. Rainbow, who wants to welcome any friends of DeSoto that came to listen from our Jumbotron and the Greatest Trek podcast. Sloth, our newest friend. Ron's old adventuring buddy, Mr. Bond. And Zachary Smith, who paid me to say he's my personal favorite. If you'd like to support this independent production and get access to bonus content, visit patreon.com/darknwpodcast. For more information, check out darknw.com. Join us next month for episode 5 of Tales of the Dark Northwest.